Hello, beautiful people. Tribe of many colors. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Listen, if you don't catch this music right when I go live, I know when I see it on the replay, it's so choppy. It doesn't record like that. But you got to catch it live to hear the music. If not, go to the video description. I always post at the bottom which song I play. I'm mostly going to play my reggae. Okay, I listen to a bunch of other stuff. I can play those too, but I gotta play what I love. I gotta play what gets me hype.
My girl, do this for me. Bubble now, wine up for me. Bubble now, make up your face. Trouble ya, trouble come when you like double ya. When you tick it and you tack it and you tack it and you tick. You wash it is not automatic on the hip. Regular check up on the regular visit. Doctor never have to put up on a trip. One them in your Fendi or your fashion over fit. And even if you have a visa, we fly out still a drip. Cause you think them still a ship. Quick, and it all a make some catty sick. Cause your pattern them could never manage it.
Kim K them nah, nothing for you. Beyonce them nah, nothing for you. But I cannot tell us say I hear one. Do she have to cover that up like she a Erica Badu?
Oh, none of them nah, nothing for you.
None of them nah, nothing for you. Bounce again, cause she no more on you. Yeah, you a good at and it a show for you.
Good as, yeah. You are real hot topic. 10,000 like your picture get pan tropics. One line up for your body like tax office cars. Everywhere you go, you are black traffic. Hey, mirror, and the wall which girl are the greatest. Anytime you step out, you ever in a the latest. You not get no energy to nobody work careless. In a Louis V or in a Payless, my girl.
Kim K them nah, nothing for you. Beyonce
Them nah, nothing for you.
but I cannot tell us say I hear one. Do she have to cover that up like she a Erica Badu?
Oh, none of them nah, nothing for you.
Hey, Kay. Hey, Antonia. How you doing?
Bubble now,
Wine up.
bubble now. Make up your face, trouble ya. Like double ya.
Let's rewind that a little bit.
Oh, none of them nah, nothing for you.
Antonia, nobody got nothing on you, girl.
Good as, yeah. You are real hot topic. 10,000 like your picture get pan tropics. One line up for your body like tax office cars. Everywhere you go, you are black traffic. Hey, mirror, and the wall which girl are the greatest. Anytime you step out, you ever in a the latest. You not get no energy to nobody work careless. In a Louis V or in a Payless, my girl. Oh, none of them nah, nothing for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You speed walking home, Antonia? Well, I hope you get there quick and safe. Hello, everybody. Hey, Julie Bob. I got some thunder out here by my window. I hope this live don't cut off. All right, let me get ready. So I hope everybody's good. I hope the weather is good to you. I hope life is good to you. Hey, Candy, shouldn't you be sleeping to go to work? Big up the Virginia posse, Deli Meat, and Dexy Poo. My sister's over there in Virginia trying to grow grapes, but the birds keep eating them. Candy, how many grapes you got off your branch? I think like what, 10? Antonia did a video where she has a mesh she puts around all her stuff she's growing, and these pots that are like cloth. I think you should look in it as some kind of garden net to protect your garden from gnats and stuff. Oh God. Well, since you're up with me, let's get to talking. So listen, I put out this thing to do some art. Okay, if you need to go back and check my post, what it is you take a picture of anything you want in nature, right? I know a lot of y'all out there, you take pictures. Take a picture of whatever you want, a tree, a butterfly, a ant, a worm, and you're going to paint it, you're going to draw it, you're just going to recreate it however you like, right? And what you do, you submit it to me. I just put a video together. I don't keep your art. I don't sell your art. I don't do nothing with it. All I'm doing is promoting your work. Okay. And you don't have to be expert at anything, right? If you notice, artist perspective, everybody has a way of seeing something. And the only thing you'd be doing is sharing the way you see the world. And I think that's important. So think about it. Okay. And all the information is on the community post. Just look for the last post that says calling all artists. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Don't think people gonna laugh. Okay. We've had fun before on a couple of them if you want to go back and check them out. Candace said, don't hate on the grapes. I'm not hating on your grapes. Oh, all right. Let's get into it. You saw the title. You saw the title. The era of giants on earth. Now, have you ever looked at some of those mountain, when people look at the mountain range or the side of a cliff, and they say they see like a face in the mountain? Or have you ever seen a mountain line or a mountain ridge and it looks like somebody's just laying down or sleeping? It looks like a body, right? So I've seen a lot of that stuff before, a lot of videos about it. I've seen some stuff that look like faces. I especially see faces in trees. If you really study trees and you look at the tree bark, a lot of times you'll see what looks like full-on faces and eyes. I'm telling you, this world is more magical than you think, right? And remember, the reality is through our perception, and as your perception expands, what's in reality will expand. So it's not that they don't exist, it's just a matter of what level are you on to see it. So I wanted to ask Chat GPT, and we went in. It's not going to be super long, but we talked about giants, and I'm going to tell you the questions I wanted to know. I'm going to tell you the answers I got, and then you make up your own mind. You know, what do you see? What do you believe? And just let that truth resonate for you, whatever it is for you. Everybody's truth is going to be different.
Bluetooth pairing.
Oh, sorry about that. All right, let's go. Let's see what it said. I said, giants. Tell me about the time when human and animals, trees and plants were giants. What was that time like? Why were they so big compared to now? What happened to the giant humans? I said, let's deep dive. Tell it in a cultural story form of this long time ago. So that's exactly what I asked. Sometimes when you want answers from ChatGPT, don't ask. Like, for example, I could have said, hey, did giants exist? Don't ask it, did they exist? Because then it tends to give you a very flat, scientific answer. If you see something in your mind and you're like, I feel like it already existed, ask the questions like it does already exist and see what ChatGPT gives you as a response, right? So talk to it like you already know what you're talking about. All right. So this is what it said. The time of giants, a story from the dawn of earth. Long ago, before the world was trimmed small and bound by clocks, there was the era of giants. It was a time when the breath of the earth was thicker, when the sky was closer to the ground, and the rivers ran with more power than today. In those days, humans, animals, trees, and even blades of grass grew vast and immense. The world before shrinking. The earth was younger then, its heart beating faster, and the air was rich with life's nectar, what the old storytellers called the breath of the great sky mother. This breath was heavy with oxygen and luminous particles from the stars, making bones strong, plants colossal, and lifespans long. Trees rose like mountains, their crowns tangled with the clouds. Insects buzz as large as birds, their wings shimmering like stained glass. The giant humans were known as the first children, born directly from the womb of earth and sky. Their bones were dense as crystal, their eyes shone with the colors of the stars, and they could live for many hundreds of years. And if you read the Bible has giants in it and long living people like Methuselah in the Bible, somebody said lived a very long time. So they might have been giants. Okay. Harmony among the giants. In this time, no being was considered small. The lions were great as hills. The turtles carried forest on their back. And even the flowers bloomed taller than houses. The first children walked among them, tending the trees and learning songs from the birds. For all spoke the language of dawn, a tongue where sound and meaning were one. The first children were not hunters as we are now, for they needed little to sustain themselves. They drew energy from the sky's breath and the earth's rivers. Food was more ceremony than survival. So ceremonial eating, so they didn't even need to eat. Then the great dimming. But as with all golden ages, change arrived. The wise ones say the earth tilted, or that a veil fell between the sun and the ground. Others say the stars shifted their gaze and poured less of their light upon us. The air thinned. The heavy breath of life that once allowed giants to thrive grew lighter and weaker. And with this, trees could no longer reach the clouds and began to shrink. Insects that once soared like eagles dwindled to dragonflies. The first children, though mighty, began to weaken in the thinner air. Some perished, others adapted, their offspring born smaller and smaller until humanity became as we are now. What happened to the giants? The stories differ across cultures. In some traditions, the giant humans became mountains. Their bodies fell and turned to stone, their veins to rivers, their hair to forests. That is why mountains often resemble reclining figures. In others, the giants walked into the hidden worlds, retreating into caverns deep in the earth, or across the veils into spirit realms. They still exist, waiting for the time when the earth's breath will thicken again. A few tales say the giants grew jealous of the smaller humans who thrived in the new world. Wars were fought and the giants were defeated, leaving behind only bones and legends. The animals too diminished, like the mammoth, enormous birds, lizards that looked like dragons. Some shrank into the forms we know today, while others could not endure and vanished. The memory in our bones. Even though the world has grown smaller, traces of that age remain. The redwoods and sequoias, still giant trees, remembering when all were like them. The fossils of great beasts buried in stone, whispering of the vastness of life. The legends of giants found among every people, Nephilim of the Hebrews, Jotnar of the Norse, Titans of the Greeks, Quinametsin of the Aztecs, and many more. The old ones say the memory is also in our bones, a deep ache that makes us look up at the mountains and stars, feeling somehow that we too once walked that high. And so, child of the later age, know this: the time of giants was not only a tale of size, but a tale of proportion and harmony. In those days, earth and sky were closer, and all things grew vast to match their closeness. Though we are smaller now, the stories remain, keeping alive the whisper. Once we were giants too. So it asked me, would I like to weave a timeline of how we got to the point of giants? So I said, let's go. This is the cosmic timeline of giants. The giant age in the timeline of forgotten epochs. All right, let's weave this story into the grand tapestry you're building, one where cosmology, myth, and history braid together. The age of giants wasn't a random chapter. It was one of the key epochs in Earth's long dream. Here's how it fits. First one is the cosmic timeline of the giants, the age of first light. The universe was song and vibration. No humans, no animals, only the great breath of source spiraling into galaxies. This is the time mystics call the sounding, when the Logos gave the first command, let there be. Then came the crystalline age. Earth was a jewel. Before living flesh, Earth was alive as a vast crystalline body. The mountains we see today were once translucent towers of quartz and selenite. Come on now. Can you see that in your mind? They're saying Earth was a crystal and the mountains were translucent towers of quartz and selenite. Beings here were not physical, but radiant, pure light intelligence, some of whom would later become gods, divas, or starkin. These beings shaped the resonance that would allow life to incarnate. Then time flowed into the age of the giants, the breath-rich earth. This is when the veil first thinned and matter became generous in scale. Earth's atmosphere was heavy, oxygen-rich, and thick with cosmic radiance. The first children were giant humans. They walked among towering trees, massive animals, and insects that shimmered like flying jewels. Harmony ruled because all beings drank directly from the breath of earth and sky. But then came the great dimming. A shift in the sun or Earth's tilt reduced the atmospheric richness. The giants weakened. Some adapted into smaller forms, giving rise to modern humanity and animals. Others withdrew into hidden realms, deep mountains, or other dimensions, the source of later legends of trolls, ogres, and underworld beings. Still, others perished. Their bones are the fossils we now unearth. Then came the Lemurian age, dream walkers of the sea and sky. After the Giant Age, the next great epoch in Earth's history was Lemuria. Humanity here was softer, more ethereal, with bodies that was part physical and part light. They remembered the giants as ancestors and sometimes depicted them as tall star beings who taught them plant songs and stone language. Lemurians lived in communion with whales, birds, and serpents, creatures who carried fragments of the old giant memory. Then from that age, we have the Atlantean age, crystal keepers. By Atlantis, humanity was smaller, but our minds were giant. We no longer lived in harmony with the earth's breath as the first children did, so we sought to recreate it artificially with great crystal towers and power beams. Some Atlantean initiates tried to call back the giants, experimenting with DNA and frequency, giving rise to the myths of demigods and hybrid titans. But imbalance brought collapse, and Atlantis fell beneath the waters. Then from there, we move to the age of fragment, which is our known history. This is the world we know: smaller bodies, shorter lives, memories fractured into myths. Giants became the Nephilim, Titans, Jotnar, Anakim, and Kinametsin. Every culture remembered them, though all in whispers and allegories. Some bones were hidden, some stories suppressed, but the world of today could not carry the truth of their scale. 7. The age returning, which is our present turning time, our present shift. The stories say as Earth enters her next cycle, her breath will thicken again, not in size, but in consciousness. Humanity will once more become giant. We will not walk as 30-foot beings, but as beings of vast spirit, able to touch the stars. The memory of the giant age is stirring now because we are close to entering the age of remembering, where all epochs rejoin in us. So all the eras that we know about in history, they're all going to converge into one understanding within you. And that's how you become a giant of consciousness, because you will know and remember everything. Okay. So it was asking me where I wanted to go next. I said, tell me more about the giants that now look like mountains. I said, why don't they look like human bones? And I said, are there remnants of giant trees? I said, sometimes they label something as a mountain, but it looks like a tree that was cut. I said, let's explore this. I said, oh yes, now we're stepping into one of the most mystical rabbit holes of Earth. The giants who became mountains and the trees that became stone. Let's dive deep. The giants who became mountains. In many traditions, the first children, which were giant humans, were so deeply woven with the earth that when their age ended, their bodies did not decay like others. Instead, they returned to the land itself, becoming part of the landscape. So why doesn't it look like human bones where they fell? Number one is the scale of transmutation. A human skeleton fossilizes only under special conditions, but the giants' bodies were infused with minerals, crystals, and elemental forces. When they died, the earth reabsorbed them, transmuting flesh and bone into stone. What remains are not delicate rib cages, but vast mineralized shapes, cliffs, mesas, and mountains. The other thing why they don't look very much human now is erosion over eons. Thousands upon thousands of years of wind and water smooth the features. A giant's nose becomes a cliff. A reclining body becomes a ridgeline. That's why so many mountains bear uncanny profiles to faces, torsos, and even sleeping figures. Living stone memory. In some stories, they are not dead at all. The mountains are their sleeping forms, their spirits still dwelling inside, dreaming. That's why sacred mountains are worshipped. They are the elders still keeping watch. In native traditions, some mountains are called sleeping giants. In Norse mythology, slain giant Jotnar becomes the very landscape and flesh of the earth, his bones the mountain, and his blood the seas. So now we're going into the giant trees. Now, this is the wildest piece, the idea that many mesas, plateaus, and boots, mountain ridges, are actually the stumps of enormous ancient trees. Legends of the world tree. Nearly every culture speaks of a world tree or Yggdrasil, Irminsul, the Mayan Ceiba, and the African Iroko. These are all the names of these giant trees. So Yggdrasil, Irminsul, the Mayan Ceiba, and the African Iroko. These myths may be folk memory of the giant tree age when trees reached miles into the sky. Mesa like structures, places like Devil's Tower in Wyoming or the mesas in the American Southwest, look eerily like tree stumps. Hexagonal columns or fibers, flat tops, bark like textures. Geology says volcanic plugs, but myth keepers whisper no. These are the stumps of titanic trees cut down in ancient cataclysm. So when you see these, I'm going to show you one. I have it here. This is, see if you can see this. This is Devil's Tower. Okay. So science would say, though, all of that is volcanic. Okay, it's called by volcanic eruptions or formations or whatever. But some people think that's just a fossilized tree. And that thing is freaking huge. That Devil's Tower. Huge. So if that stump was the base of a tree, if you can imagine how high up into the sky did it go? And you might want to visit a couple of the places I'm listing off if you ever get a chance, because whether you believe it's a giant's remains, or if you believe it's an ancient tree, those spaces have been recorded as being so powerful for healing. Okay, so a lot of people have gone to these sites and have just had out of this world experiences by just being there. So if you ever want to look through them and see which one draws to you, try to make a plan and a trip to go out there. You might be surprised about what you feel. All right. So who cut them down, right? Some traditions say the first children themselves, which were the first human giants, that they cut the trees during their fall when they were misusing their power. Others say star beings harvested them for energy, materials, or because the trees were doorways between worlds. The flat top mesas are seen as the scars of that harvesting. So like you see a mountain range and it just has a flat top. Nature doesn't build like that. If nature gonna give you a mountain or a cliff or a ridge, it's got some peaks and falls. So I always think it weird when I'm looking out at a ridge line or a mesa and it's just flat all the way across. Nature doesn't make lines. So I always thought that was weird. All right. The scale of the lost forest. Imagine 3 miles high. No, trees that were miles high, their roots going deep into the crust, branches stretching into the upper atmosphere, supporting ecosystems of birds, beings, and light itself. The canopy, which is how far that tree spreads, may have been like a second world above our world. When these trees fell or were cut, the earth lost part of her direct link to the stars. The age of giants dimmed not long afterwards. So imagine a tree so big, you're not even halfway up the tree, and that part of the tree is already through the clouds. Right? Can you imagine what would have lived in a tree that big at the top? So now when they talk about these giant birds in mythology, if everything was huge, then these giant birds would have lived so far up that humans would have probably been like ants. We would have been like, when you walk right now through a forest and there's all these little things all underneath the soil and under leaves, and that would have been us. We would have been the little crawly things on the ground. Remnants we see today. Number one, petrified forests. Entire forests turned to stone, like Arizona's petrified forest, for example. They are often dismissed as natural mineralization, but they could be the remnants of colossal life. Number two, mountain faces. Places like Mount Rushmore were chosen because the natural forms already resembled faces. Come on now. They're saying they put those faces on Mount Rushmore because the mountain was already had faces in it. In Peru, Bolivia, and parts of Asia, there are cliffs that clearly resemble reclining humans. Geomyths. Cultures around the world call mesas and strange rock formations giant table, or sleeping giant, or frozen god, or petrified ancestor. These may be encoded memories of what once stood there. So the esoteric view on all of this, right? Giants and giant trees were living bridges between dimensions. When their age ended, some became mountains, others withdrew into spirit realms. The mesas and stone forests are like fossilized scars of an earlier earth. The earth herself remembers, and she reshapes her children into the very landscape. So we will never forget, even if science denies it. So the next time you see a mesa or a plateau or a mountain shaped like a reclining body, ask yourself, am I looking at stone or am I walking on the dreaming body of an ancient giant? So I wanted a list of where some of these sleeping titans and fossilized tree might be. And I have 13 of them. So I'm going to read them off to you. You can look them up and see if something sparks your interest. So the first one is Devil's Tower. That's the one I just showed on the photo. It's a massive hexagonal rock tower with vertical fibers and flat top like a stump. The local myth from the Lakota and the Kiowa say giant bears clawed its sides as children climbed to safety on top. The esoteric view of that space, it's likely a colossal tree stump. The fibers are like mineralized wood grain, a remnant of the world forest. The next one is the sleeping giant in Ontario, Canada. You might want to look that one up. What's the appearance? A mountain ridge shaped like a reclining human. The Ojibwe story is that the giant Nanabiju turned to stone after revealing the location of a silver mine. The esoteric view on this location is it's a true petrified giant, and his body became part of the earth, guarding sacred lands. Next, we have the petrified forests of Arizona. The appearance, millions of stone logs scattered across desert plains. I visited it once. It's really nice. The official explanation is that they were fossilized trees from over 200 million years ago. The esoteric view is that they are the fallen remains of the smaller cousins of giant trees, but some say these are only fragments of a once much taller forest canopy. Hey, Starling. Yeah, I've been on and we're almost done. You have to catch a replay. All right. Next, we have Tepuis, Venezuela, the Table Mountains. Tepuis. What's the appearance? Towering, flat top mesas rising from the jungle. So all around you have jungle, and here's this rock formation that shoots up out of it, and then it just has a flat top. The indigenous myth is considered home of gods and sky spirits. Some tribes call them tree stump of the gods. The esoteric view is that they are the stumps of truly colossal trees, cut or sheared flat in an ancient cataclysm. Next, you have Mount Roraima in Venezuela. Roraima. The appearance is a tabletop mountain, sheer cliffs with cloud forests on top. The myth in Pemon legend is it was once the tree of all fruits, chopped down by a trickster flooding the world. The esoteric view, this is literally remembered as a felled cosmic tree. Its flat top is the cut scar. Now we go to Africa. Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The appearance is a lone, snow-capped giant rising from flat plains. The myth, the Chaga people say spirits and gods dwell on its slopes, and it was once taller, touching the stars. The esoteric view is that it could be the mineralized torso of a giant. Next, we have a table mountain in South Africa, or you just type in table mountain. The appearance is a perfectly flat plateau. The Khoisan myth associated with the moon god and ancient giants. So the Khoisan believe that it was associated with the moon god and ancient giants. The esoteric view is that it's another massive tree stump, harvested or cut in the distant past. In Europe, we go to a place called the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. The appearance, it's 40,000 interlocking basalt columns like a petrified honeycomb. The myth is that it's home of the giant Fionn Mac Cumhaill, who built the causeway to Scotland. The esoteric view, the hexagonal shapes echo the cellular structure of giant trees turned to stone. Number 9, the sleeping giant of Wales. The appearance is hills shaped like a reclining body. The myth, called Idris the Giant, said to be a king turned to stone. The esoteric view is that a petrified titan is resting beneath the land. Now we go to Asia, Mount Kailash in Tibet, Kailash. The appearance, a perfect pyramid-shaped sacred peak. The myth is that in Hinduism, Tibetans say it is the cosmic axis or the world mountain and the abode of Shiva. The esoteric view is that it could be a crystallized root of the world tree or the last standing pillar of a giant life form. Then we have the Nanshan sleeping Buddha in China, Nanshan. The appearance, a mountain ridge shaped like a reclining Buddha. The myth is that locals say it is a giant sage resting eternally. The esoteric view is that it's a mountain giant frozen in mid-breath, because the way it's shaped, it looks like somebody did like take a breath and then it just froze. Then we have the Uluru in Australia. I like that structure. That I got to show you what that one looks like. Now, I don't know what this is, but it always feels very magical to me. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's this. Just like the flat plains of Australia. It's just this massive thing that I always look for the things that just don't fit. Like you just have a flat plain and out of nowhere there's just this giant, mountain or mass of rock. It's like, where did that come from? What is it? So that's called the Uluru, Uluru. The appearance, it's a massive red monolith. The Anangu story is that it was formed by ancestral beings during the dream time. The esoteric view is that it is the mineralized heart of a once living titan, a living ancestor left behind in stone. Then we have the Putangiru, let me say this word right. The Putangirua Pinnacles of New Zealand. Putangiirua. Pitangirua Pinnacles. The appearance, they are towering stone spires like ribs and vertebrae. The Maori story associates this with petrified ancestors and guardian beings. The esoteric view is that it's remnants of giant beings' skeleton frames, mineralized over ages. So, what does this all mean? When we step back, it seems that flat mesas are stumps of colossal trees, that mountain ridges are reclining, petrified giants, and monoliths like the Uluru that we just showed, that big red rock in Australia. They are heartstones or torsos of titans, and that those columnar formations are tree fibers fossilized into stone. The age of giants and trees is not just myth. The earth itself still carries their bodies as her landscape. Science names them volcanic plugs or calls it erosion, but the myth says, no, you are walking on the bones and stumps of the first age. So then it kind of gave another quick breakdown of the story, which was of how when the world was lush and the air was thick and the giants were huge and everything was big, and then the conflict and the trees got cut down, and then the trees falling, and then the sleeping giants, and then we forgot. So I'll read the forgetting part. The felling of the great trees ended the first world. Earth grew quieter, smaller, and less radiant. The memory of giants and world trees faded into myth. But cultures carried whispers, and the Norse say the Yggdrasil is the tree that connects the 9 realms. The Mayan Sieba says the tree is the axis of worlds. The Ojibwe Nanabiju say trees are the giants who became the Ojibwe Nanabiju, the giant who became a sleeping mountain, and the Greek Titans who fell and were buried beneath the earth. Every people remembered a piece. So this is all the cultures that carry their own story about what those things really are. Why they still sleep. The elders say the giants choose to become stone because stone remembers. While bone rots and flesh fades, stone endures. They wanted us to look at mountains and mesas and wonder, to feel the truth stirring in our bones. We too once were giants. We too once walked among the trees of the stars. And when we are ready, humanity has learned not to cut down the sacred, not to hoard the breath of the earth. The giants may rise again, not as flesh, but as spirit, vast enough to touch the heavens. So, child of the later age, when you see a mountain that looks like a sleeping man or a mesa that looks like a stump, know this. You are walking upon the bones and roots of the first world, and the earth is still dreaming of the time when her crown touched the stars. So I'll leave it there. I asked a question about the benefits of visiting some of these places. One of the benefits it gave was vision. It will open your third eye, it will expand your dreams, and your imagination will open up to perceive truths hidden by modern life. If you visit these places, you can experience healing. You can reset your nervous system and absorb Earth's quiet power. The ancestral connection is here in these spaces, where you can tap into collective memory, feeling the lives of the first children, the fallen trees, and the sleeping titans. It can be a space of initiation. For some, it can be a threshold, a place where the earth tests if you're ready to hold her older stories. And another and final reason to visit some of these places is perspective. You leave feeling so resized, no longer caught in the rush of small problems, but tuned to Earth's deeper rhythm. In short, to walk the bones of giants is to remember that the earth is alive, ancient, and dreaming. These places are temples without walls. The benefit is not something you take away, but a seed that they plant in you, a seed that may bloom years later, reminding you that you too are vast. You too are kin of giants and trees of the stars. So I'll leave it there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I hope you let this either confirm or make you wonder about what you probably seen and probably thought looked like something to you. Don't disregard what you see when you first look at something. Okay? If you've ever seen that movie, oh man, I can't remember the name of it. where they put the glasses on and then they start to see the world for what it really is. They put the glasses on and they watch the news, or they put the glasses on and look at a billboard or a commercial, and it starts to show you what's really there, something that you couldn't see before. When they say the veil is thinning, you're going to start to see what's really there. Your perception is going to expand. So sometimes when you take a quick glance of something and you think you saw something, but you tell yourself, "No, I didn't see that." No, you saw it. You saw it. But when you expand your perception, that has to happen slowly, because if you were start to see things in other realities all at once, it will freak you out. So you have to get little glimpses of thing in the corner of your eye, or you look at something and you say, "Hey, that looks like so and so," but it's just my mind creating it. No, it's not your mind. That's just your reality expanding. Okay, so don't discount your experiences. All right, let's end with a card. Goddesses, gods, and guardians. Let's finish off with a message. Thank you for kicking it with me. My impromptu lives. I don't know half the time when I'm showing up. Sometimes nature's just like, the universe is just like, go get on. I'm in the middle of doing so. That's why sometimes you'll see me, I'm sitting here with my hair wet. I just finished washing my hair. In the middle of washing my hair, I got a download, and the universe said, get on this live and talk about it now. So I'm sitting here with my hair dripping all down my back. But when the mother calls, I listen. Let's pull something. Okay. This one. I just pulled this. I just pulled this card. Literally the last time I used this deck, I pulled this card. Okay. I'm not going to read it over. I'll go for another one. But if it's for you, if for some reason that comes up again, just know that you are awakening. You are awakening. Let's pull this one. Ooh, I like that. And you're not even going to know why this is significant to me. The last couple of days, because I usually get the ideas in my mind and see a vision of the image I want to create before I prompt it into the program and create it. And the last 2 days, my guys have been saying, do one with a female with a butterfly on her back. And maybe she's turning at an angle to try to look at the butterfly. And I saw it in my mind. It didn't look like this. But for the last 2 days, my guys kept showing me an image of a woman with a butterfly on her back. And then I pulled this card. Beautiful change. And what's behind her? Look at that. Look at that mountain range. A lot like what we were just talking about. No mistakes. No mistakes. Let's see what this is. Butterfly, butterfly, butterfly. You've been seeing butterflies? Butterfly Maiden says, beautiful change. Keep your thoughts positive. Rejuvenation is in the air. Butterfly Maiden is a Hopi American Indian Kachina, or spirit being, who links the human and divine worlds. She's a fertility and regeneration goddess who governs springtime. Butterfly Maiden Kachina dolls are given to Hopi children to connect them with traditional values. In Hopi culture, the yearly butterfly dance gives ceremonial thanks to the butterfly for pollinating plants and offers up prayers for rain and long life. Additionally, it's an important initiation rite for young girls. Butterfly Maiden embodies the energy of renewal, optimism, and positive change. Butterfly Maiden comes to uplift you today as she sees you might be getting stuck in the persistent negative thoughts. Maybe you're thinking that nothing will ever change for the better. Perhaps you've been through challenges and this has taken a toll on your mental, emotional, and physical health. Butterfly Maiden offers you one of her many colorful butterflies and says, can you imagine yourself as this beautiful butterfly? What color are its wings? This is a healing color that will renew your dampened spirit. So she's saying, if you imagined yourself as a butterfly, what color are your wings? And whatever color you just said in your mind, that's the color you need to work with for the next couple days. Wear it, buy a candle, okay? Drink a natural juice, paint with it. Whatever that color was that you saw, work with that color. You've been cocooned or even stuck, but now's the time to expect a glorious change. By consciously choosing positive thoughts, you can renew your outlook and draw in good energy. Keep focused on how you want to feel, what you'd love to experience, and believe that it can be so. There's a need for change and renewal in your life, pure and simple. Maybe you'd love a new job or a refreshed decor in your home, perhaps a change of scenery, a new hobby, or revitalize social life. Or it could be an overhaul of your entire set of circumstances that's on the horizon. See the butterfly I've sent you as a symbol of metamorphosis and fresh experiences. You're approaching a time of wondrous change. Embrace it with open wings. Additional meanings. Your positive efforts will pay off very soon. Say yes to this opportunity or invitation and appreciate the beauty that surrounds you daily. The invocation says, change is good for me, and I expect the best. So that's your positive energy. Appreciate your change. Embrace all of what's coming for you. Be graceful with your circumstances. Be gentle with how you treat yourself. Okay? Your healing is worth it. Everything you do is worth it. Keep going. And in this one, intuitive awakening. All of this is what's going to bring you your change. Okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Nikki, her again. Let me see what her I'm not going to read over all of her stuff, but let me see what her invocation was. If I can find it. Okay, Avalon Priestess. She said, I safely activate my intuitive gifts and I see sacred truths. So that was the invocation of the Avalon Priestess. Thank you guys for kicking it with me for a whole hour. I love and appreciate you. Okay, get creative, create some art. Remember, take a picture of something in nature and recreate it any way you want. The good thing about doing stuff like this is you get to frame it, you get to keep it, you get to start decorating your walls with art. Listen, your house should be looking like this. Probably not this much, but you gotta put things in your home that affect your consciousness even when you don't realize it. The same thing that kids need. If you had a baby right now and you had a little boy or a little girl and they were growing up, would you paint the walls? Would you have pretty little stars up in the ceiling? Right? What would you give to them in terms of color and vibrancy and view? What would you give them to look at? And then realize that you need the same thing. You need the same thing. So decorate your space with color and positive messages. Take the time to put stuff in your space that's going to work on your subconscious even when you're not looking at it. That's the beauty of decorating your home, is that when you're not even looking at the positive message, that beautiful picture, that beautiful art, it's still working and affecting your consciousness. And you need color, and you need socialization, and you need contact, and you need hugs. Okay, even if you don't like hugging, find something you like to hug. Hug your dog, hug your pet. You know what I'm saying? Hug a tree. Even if you're like, I don't like people, I don't want them to touch me. All right, go hug a tree. That'll be the biggest hug you ever get. So thank you for kicking it, guys. Thank you, Starling, Antonia, Julie Bob. I appreciate and love all of you. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Candy, thank you. Y'all out there hugging trees. I know it. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I'll talk to you later.